G'day and welcome back for more of the Scrapyard in the desert. And I need to get all my stuff unloaded properly so that I can go out and try and find some more stuff so that I can refit my crane and correct this weird wind turbine that I built. Because it is producing some power. Like, it's producing 112 kilowatts, which isn't horrible. It's not great. And it would definitely work better if I could stand it upright and lift it up higher, but my crane at present is not really capable of manipulating things properly. I'm going to need to set one up with a proper script on it. I'll most likely use the Park script, the piston and rotor keybinds script. And that's my preferred one to use, as I can definitely get it set up in a way that I can utilize it quite well. Now, the other things I want to do, so let's start by offloading things. Let's get this gyroscope off. There we go. Pop it around here with the rest of my little pile that's starting. Alright, I think it's time for me to stop building in rust and start building in some other materials. I think I can drag this around. So we'll just switch lock that. And discover I'm wrong. I'm going to have to push it. Okay, push the engine out of the way. Then I've got my collection of thrusters, an engine, and a gyroscope. Is there anything else I need to remove from this before I head off? I could remove that programmable block. Just remove this because I think if I find another wind turbine, I'm just going to try and grab onto it at the front while lifting something heavy with the crane at the back and see if they balance. Don't think I need 2 programmable blocks on the rover right now. And the less stuff I'm carrying on there, the better. Now, I do probably need to look at how much storage space I've got, which isn't a huge amount. So I'm going to try and repair this cargo container over here. And if I can repair it, which I don't think I can, but if I can, I am going to... Do I have any grids? I thought I had some grids. Never mind. I can't repair it. You don't have a grid. Oh, you have a grid. I'll take your grid. You have a grid. Any of you 3? No. 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 Great. So we're halfway there on the grids. Okay, so metal grids, that's what I need to find, because then I will have storage at base, which I don't have right now. Should have a decent amount of charge. But a lot of things I turned off, so I need to make sure I turn them back on, like the gyroscope. That would have been devastating. And the wheels are all off. That I would have discovered before anything went terribly wrong. And away I go. Daylight is that direction, so let's go that way. Let's head on east. Increase my chance that I'm actually going to see what I'm trying to, to scrap. So my goal, once I've got my basics set up, is to try and make up some sort of trading hub for people to use to shift materials they have excess of to try and get the stuff that they need. To go with that, I'm also going to need to have some way of generating a fair amount of power so that people can recharge here, because they're likely to... They're potentially going to have to travel 60, 80 Ks to get here. So I want to make sure that they've got the ability to recharge their vehicles when they arrive. So if I can manage to find a few wind turbines, then I should be on my way to doing that. Even if I don't have the batteries for them to quickly steal charge off. But much like before, my goal is for power first. Oof. These lake beds are not as smooth as they look. Oh, there's something over here. What have I... Oh, okay. It's the bits where they get near the islands in them that are not smooth. Gotcha. What have I found? This way. Oh, that's a wind turbine. Think. Yes, 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 yes. Please be. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to try a much more high-risk means of moving this, even though I've got 10.5 kilometers to travel with it. But I think it'll be worth it if I can get it back home. So, I'm going to pick the whole tower up exactly as is. Let's hack this little terminal. Yeah, 320 kilowatts. If I can get it at that height, that's almost 3 times what the other one's doing. So, how am I going to balance this out? Hopefully I can find something to pick up around here, but what I'm thinking I will do, if I can't, is at least go and grab 1 steel plate. What? 3 metal grip? Why didn't it? Oh, I knew I had... Burger. I do have enough grids for that cargo container back home. So if I drop that there, and then I go down, and then lift that up, that's at least a little bit of a counterweight. Because the front end is going to get really heavy in a second. If I extend this up a bit, it'll be even more of a counterweight. So we've got a tail for a counterbalance, and then I'm going to stick... I'll just stick the foot on the front like that. Wheels. We're going to drop the suspension strength and go... Actually, we'll drop height offset. Sit it right down low. I'll drop it a little bit lower. I think I can. Okay, that's about as low as we can go. Then if we drive up... Bike brake on, and then grind this out. And I am now holding the whole thing. Perfection. Now, before I start driving and have no clearance whatsoever, let's get our clearance back. And that also gives us a little bit more clearance underneath the turbine tower. Cool. This should, in theory, be a much easier way of locking this onto my base. In practice, though, it's going to be a lot easier to lock onto my base, but a lot more difficult to get home safely. I'm probably going to have to keep my speed on the low side. Hang on. That was 3.6 kilometers. So if I rotate myself, then I can see what that heading is. You know what? I'm going to head towards it. I feel confident enough with this thing. I'm going to take my chance. Because if there's a chance that I can pick something good up and stick it on the back rather than just holding a random piece of armor, I think that'll be worth it. Traveling in the desert is really not that difficult. I can see that on top of the hill, whatever it is. Or is that a mountain I can see behind it? I think I can see that on the top of the hill. Can't believe how stably this is driving. So I should have done this with the first one. I say stable, but my tail is wagging. Okay, we've got ourselves a hangar of some sort. It's quite buried in the sand. Let's go see what's inside. Deactivated turret and a battery. Oh yeah, battery is very, very good. What's inside here? Oh, dead person. Dead person with rifle. Huh? Oh no, dead person with pistol. Med kits, power kits, and some space credits. Some medical components, nice. I don't think I need to care about a cryo chamber. Anything good in that? No, let's just grind it out anyway. Battery is the exciting thing from here though. Oh, and some power cells too. But a fully intact, I think it's fully intact. Yep, fully intact and charged large grid battery. Right. There are no guns in there that are active, so I can bring my rover closer. That battery will definitely be enough of a counterweight for this giant thing on the front. If I can get into it. I'm gonna have to... That's gonna be tricky, I think. I have to reverse in. And try and line myself up. Without hitting... Ah! The turbine. Okay, that'll do for now. What's in the weapon rack? More ammo and rifle. I don't think I'm gonna be needing those. This place is tough enough. Oh yes, 10 large steel tubes. I can probably upgrade to 5x5s. And another 6.
Inventory
oh, I can totally
full.
upgrade to 5x5s. That is on the cards when I get home as well. Yes. Cool, cool, cool. This has been a very good haul. Wind turbine, battery, large steel tubes. Ooh. And a drill. There is no reason for me to want to drill into the ground. Because we don't have refineries, and we don't have any ability to produce stuff because we don't have assemblers either. However, one of my goals here is to leave the planet, and that's going to need to collect a whole lot of hydrogen. And that means we're going to need to be able to drill it, so I think I'm going to need to bring well, at least try and bring this drill back. Because then we'll be able to use it in the future. Oh boy, that's going to be tough. Alright. I'll try and lift up the drill with my crane and then slap it onto the truck with a landing gear so that then I can pick up that battery. Or hopefully pick up that battery. So that battery's going to be really heavy. I think I do want to try and bring this drill with me. They're pretty rare. Let's see if the crane can reach from where it is. And then I will put a landing gear here. This is definitely going to be my last trip with a manually controlled crane. Going to reach? I don't think it is. Oh, that's so close. Pretty sure the drill's going to be too heavy for me to drag it. Oh no. No, I can drag it a bit. Okay. Let's grind this thing flat so I can drag it closer. Huh. Why isn't that locking? I'm going to risk something. No! That was a mistake. I should not have risked that. Now I have to pick the whole thing up again. I really don't want to. I just realized there's a battery in the front of this truck. I need that so much more than the drill. Especially as I may even have enough power cells to repair it. I think I'm a bit short, but I'm not too far. Got 4 there. No, I got 5. I've got enough to repair it. Got 6 even. Also, my cargo's full. So I've got to cut this battery out. That's far more valuable to me right now than a drill for some distant future goal. So, battery. I could merge it on, but I don't really have the manipulation abilities properly to do that. So, what I'm going to do... I'm going to stick a couple of landing gear here on the side and hope one of them, at least, will grab that battery if I pick it up with the crane. And then we'll go back to getting the drill on and hopefully get this working. I don't know why I let myself use manual cranes for as long as I do. I really shouldn't. I really should put that time into setting up the script because it is so well worth it. Like, being able to use the crane properly early on is so valuable, and I was being lazy and I'm paying for it now. I'm still being lazy, but I also know how close I am to not using this crane exactly because I'm going to rip this whole thing apart to build the new one. But I'm like, oh, I shouldn't keep this. I shouldn't bother setting it up. I'm going to get rid of it soon. It's one of the things I really like to do when I'm setting up a proper crane is have it so it can stow itself. And so that and in doing so, it kind of collapses neatly upon itself. And this one very much cannot do that. Okay, we are locked. We have a battery. Ooh. Can I even get to where I'm trying to get to? Or is my hinge not going to have the right angles? I might not even be able to get to these landing gears. Yeah, I'm going to have to... Okay. I'm going to have to change up how I'm doing this. I'm going to have to build a platform, because that's actually as close as I can get with my current design. Which is clearly one of the major flaws of the design as I did it. So what we're going to have to do is build a bit of a platform out here, off the side, that I'll drop the battery on, and then I'll push or drag the battery into those landing gear. So that's the other thing I need to do with my proper crane design. Yes, have it fold in on itself so it can pack up neatly and be stowed for better, easier travel, but also make it so it can reach to the side of the truck closely. Okay, that should be safe to drop on, I think. Trying to spin this as well, if I can. Just probably overreaching a little, but surely that's locked now. Yes, that's locked, okay. Let's get rid of this nonsense.
Inventory full.
Oops, and delete some steel plate. That's not really that big a deal. Okay. Please lock this time. Yay! Phantom forces, that means we've locked. Also, I can see the crane. But I'm worried about those phantom forces. Oh, come on, let me get to the landing gear. Okay, unlock this. Okay, so I got the drill. I've got the small grid battery. Time to grab the large grid battery. Then I'm heading home. I don't care what I see along the way because I am way overloaded now. Probably. And I will be even more so once I add this battery. Okay, I should just be able to reverse straight into this battery. So let's release it from here. Oh. Cannot detach enemy blocks. Right. Okay. I'm gonna have to try and hack this thing. Let's see if I can do it without destroying too many of the power cells. Can't remember if there's a way to... Come on, gently.
Inventory
No, I did one. Oh well, it's mine now.
Inventory full. Inventory.
One power cell's not a big deal.
Inventory full. Inventory
Happily
full.
lose one to gain a whole large grid battery. Okay, unlocked. Let's lift it up, I hope. Yep. That's not a good place to have such a heavy thing. But I don't really have another choice. Right, time to drive slowly. How far have I got to get home? 8.77 kilometers. But an epic haul from just a couple of locations. I feel like at the beginning of this style of play, everything feels like an epic haul because there's so much more that you need. So you're so much more likely to find things that are useful to you. Once I've got a decent amount of power established at base and all that sort of stuff, it becomes more targeted what I'm looking for, and there's a lot more stuff that I end up ignoring. But equally, the vehicles I'm using to search with and collect with are substantially better by that point, so it's kind of a bit of a give and take. Oh, that's faster than I am likely to want to go. A little overconfident there, I suppose. I can't believe how well this is working. This should not be this easy. I guess the sand dunes really are, my friend. I'm looking forward to doing a complete rebuild on this rover, though. Oh, hopefully I'll find a survival kit soon so that I can have one set back at base and not have to have my only respawn be on the rover. Because if I crash this and break the survival kit, I have to respawn in a truck and then make my way to my base, and I could be on the other side of the planet if that happens. Less than friendly weather right now. Oh, jeez. Stop. Starting to see my warehouse coming out of the sand fog. Okay, how am I going to approach any of this? First of all, I'm at the wrong side of the warehouse. So I need to come around, and I need to get to that cargo container because I need to offload some things. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to do much building without it being quite painful. Alright, now that I actually know for sure that I have those grids that I needed, and that they are in the other side. This side. Oh, where'd the grids go? What? 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 Am I going mad? I could have sworn I saw 3 grids and I think I'm losing my mind. The sand is getting to me. What? 3 metal grid? Why didn't it? Oh, I knew I had burger. Let's finish modeling that up because that at least gets 60 plate out of my inventory. Right. So I don't have the grids. I'm going to be so confused looking at that in the edit, I think. Right. I suppose I can build up my scrap beacon. Bit 2, get some stuff out that way. I think step 1 is going to be get this battery inside the warehouse. So I'm going to cut this corner off and I'll replace it once I've got the battery down. But do I want to place the battery at the back of the warehouse? Maybe the back would make more sense. Because I kind of want to use this warehouse like a warehouse. I think that would be kind of cool. I may have to expand it, of course, but at least to begin with, I think it'd be a cool way to do it. And if I get rid of these 2 pieces, I should be able to drop the battery in place. And I think for the battery and the sake of less pain on my end, I'm going to be using some weld pads, which have their cost, but it could be worse. We go weld pad underneath, but it's not going to let me, so I'm going to have to lift that up a bit more. Stick this one down now, though. So I'm going to stick it right in the corner here. The battery is arguably the more valuable of the 2 items here, if I'm comparing the battery and the wind turbine, because the battery will store charge while I'm out and about rovering, and that means I can recharge my rover more quickly by stealing the charge from the large grid battery. Whereas having an extra wind turbine is helpful, but not quite so helpful, I think. At least when you don't have to consider stuff on the base consuming power, because without assemblers, without refineries, there's not a lot on a base that's going to consume power. Try and line it up a little bit better. That's not bad, I think. Alright, unlock and hope this welds down. Yeah! We have battery. Right, let's repair these walls. I'm gonna go the lighter color. Oh, this makes me happy. Just gonna flip these light armor panels around because I think with me having the bottom row all in the blues and then the upper levels in the grey, I think it'd be better. You look at the way that the texture is on this. On the bottom right now, there's a bit of a shaded bit where it looks like it curves in. I was originally lining it up to the blue side, but I think having it here so that then it lines up nicely to the one above it. And then there's a nice smooth bit. And then we have the deliberate break where the change in paint type is. I think will look neater. Yeah. And then I deliberately put the dark grey bit along the bottom because I think it looks nice down in there. Awesome. Battery placed. Now, where to put the wind turbine? I think I'm going to expand this little platform that the whole thing's built on out the back here, and we'll put a bunch of wind turbines. Actually, let's go down the side. I'm going to come around the other side, and we'll expand out onto the lake bed. Those power towers out there I can see in the distance. I wonder if something's at the bottom of them. To go check that out later. Probably try to avoid getting myself too distracted right now. Now for this one it's going to be a little bit tricky because I am rotated and I think I'm going to have to use merge blocks to get this locked down. And then I will start building out this base a bit. Can probably cheap out a little bit and go with half slabs. I don't like using the plate for cheaping out because the texture ends up tiling, whereas if you use the half blocks, it still spreads out across the whole surface just like it would with a full block, but with substantially less cost. I think we'll bring it out to about there. Then let's see if I can line up the rover a little bit, knowing where that merge block is, and then I'll see where I'm going to place the other one. I'm really worried about what's going to happen to my rover when this merge block does snap on. I'm worried that it'll snap me down into the ground and blow up half my rover. But I don't really feel like I have another option. Okay, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Something like this. So if I then put this down, and the merge block goes here. My hope is, ooh, actually, if I cut this off, probably make this much more likely to be successful. Put that out there. Keep making a bit more of a platform here. And then when I drop it, at least this shouldn't tip over. It should tip this way. And then nicely rest itself on the ground with the turbine pointing upward. If it doesn't manage to get pulled by the magnetism of this merge block, at least it'll be upright, and then I can try and get something to push it into place that's built on the large grid, or use my crane to nudge it, something like that. Okay, the magnetism's on. I've got a bit of a counterweight out this way. Hopefully it's going to pull it down level. So here goes. Switch, lock. Ooh. Okay, we got closer. Maybe I can just give it a bit of a nudge. Hop in, and I'll reverse in, and then I'll use my crane to give it a nudge. Always more convoluted before I get a proper crane set up. Oh, okay, never mind, or I'll just bump it. Who needs crane? Oh wait, I've locked myself on. Oops, I did use the crane. I thought I bumped it with the drill. Oh, I'm locked again. Okay, I really need to have this on my hopper. 2 wind turbines, 1 battery. No cargo. That's the bit that stings. No cargo. Ultimately, my plan here would be to put, like, to have some means of moving the stuff around inside the warehouse and not leaving it out here in the open, like currently am. Because I don't really want to be constantly dumping stuff out here in the open on the ground. Some scrap I will probably dump out here, like, ooh, maybe that's the way to do it. Pre-processed scrap, as in before I've processed it, gets dumped out here. So if I bring back a whole vehicle or something like that, that's probably the perfect thing to dump out here. And then each individual block or component that I want I'll put inside. So my storage options are limited right now. I can use connectors, but it always feels a bit of a cheesy thing for me to do that. Maybe I'll build some of these barrels. Or the cargo boxes, which I think I can build. Yep. I'll build a couple of cargo crates and dump some stuff in here. The reason I feel like it's a bit cheesy for me to build connectors is that that's fully conveyed storage. There's a fair bit of it. And I mainly left the ability to build connectors in this game mode because there's a fairly decent chance, especially for the people playing with higher ping, that they'll destroy their connectors, and having to then find a new one, that gets more frustrating than fun. So I'm just going to play as intended, and cargo is either unconveyed or I have to find it. And in this case, unconveyed. Cool, I've actually emptied out the entire thing into those 3 crates. Let's go. And I can see those power towers over this way, so I'm heading off to them. See if there's anything at the base of them that might be of interest. But my main goal on this trip really has to be cargo. I need some cargo storage for the base, which means I really need to find some grids. Oh dear, that's a lot of air. There's something south-southwest. Not seeing anything at the base of these power towers, so I might abandon them and head to the south-southwest. Oh, no, there is something. Just on the other side of this ridgeline. Hello. Almost missed that. Just saw the vaguest hint of it poking up over the edge. What have you got in you that I might want? Anything up front? That's exciting. This is all looking like fairly basic componentry. I'll have a proper look at it in a second, but let's start with this container underneath. And yeah, okay, there's nothing in here that I want. It'll all just be basic stuff. That's a rotor on the back, so let's grab that. Just cut its tail off so I can reach it more easily. Alright, what's in the cockpit? Cockpit might have some computer-y stuff that I want. So let's see. Small battery. Programmable block, let's grab that. Nope, I have to hack it. So let's just cut it off then. Grab you out. And I'll slap this on one of my landing gear. What else do we have in here? Vent controller or anything? Access panel. Inset light. Vent controller, haha. So I think... Yep, no event controller, but I can make timer blocks, yeah. Alright. This event controller could come in handy for a variety of things. Anything else? Unlock it. Anything up top? No, I think I'm happy with that. That was a couple of useful blocks. Not useful right now, but, you know, useful. Eventually. Probably. Oh. Oh. Spotted something and... What? Scrap starter rover? I'm gonna have to check that out in a minute. I'm heading to these things that I've just seen first. So that one's broadcasting. I think I might have found someone. Not sure if they'll be around at the moment, but I think I just found someone. Right, what do we got here? A little farm setup. Got a tractor. Hopefully there's something good in the shed. Oh. That cultivator doesn't look happy. That is very strange. Oh, oh, there it is. Alright, large steel tubes, nice. Still not sure how many more of those I need to be able to go to the 5x5 wheels. I will take what I can get. Let's go check out the shed. Oh, jeez! I think I put all my guns away. What can I do here? Might be able to get that rotor off before it gets me. Oh, it can't shoot down here. There we go. It's gone. Gatling gun dead. Oh, 2 metal grids. Nice. And an intact battery. As well as a custom turret controller. And a medium cargo container. Very nice. I did get shot at. That wasn't so nice. But the rest of this is nice. I could probably fit more stuff if I used mag plates. But it can sometimes be quite difficult to unlock said mag plates and unlock the correct one using build vision, so I figured I'll just use big landing gear. Is there anything in that cargo container that I can see? Yeah, I'll have to repair it first. Alright, let's grab the battery and custom turret controller. And that should actually put me in a position to do a refit of my rover. Because I've got enough grids now. Yes, and I definitely have them. Not going crazy. I've got enough grids now that I can build that cargo container, which means I can put some cargo on the base and have somewhere to offload to. It's not so awkward as those cargo boxes. Alright, we got that. Let's go. Let's go check out that person's... What could be that a person's thing? Maybe someone else down here? I hope it is. Because that's kind of cool. That means there is someone right nearby. Oh, it's probably the person who took my wind turbines that I'd hoped to pick up. I keep saying mine. They weren't mine. I didn't own them. They were fair game. Got to keep telling myself that. Eventually I'll believe it. Where's that scrap starter over there? It is. Let's delete that GPS. Let's go find out who's there. And hope they don't have guns. Oh! Lost the broadcast. Huh. Strange. Very strange. Ghost beacon? It's here. Oh, a little shed. Might as well check it out. Some here, and that ghost beacon has disappeared. Very odd. Wait, is this just a... Is there anything in this shed? This looks like an outhouse. Oh no. There's a shed. Got some wheels. Ooh. Ooh. I like the look of that. Let's grab that. Little hydrogen thruster. Won't go complaining finding that. Then we'll grab the large steel tubes from those wheels and I'm good. Not bad. Unexpected and not bad at all. Always need tons of motors, so I may as well grab those too. Once we get to building aircraft, the motors will be very much in demand. Abandoned settlement. Abandoned settlement. Nope. I don't know where that starter rover's gone. That's very strange. It was definitely a broadcast from a little rover like this. It had the same label on it. Very confusing. Very confusing indeed. Grab our extra programmable block. Should probably sort this file and or at least roughly sort it for the moment. No, programmable blocks can go over there. Alright, we'll sort it later. This is all proving too hard. Yep, let's build up that cargo container. I think again I'm gonna put the cargoes around the side, not inside, because the cargo doesn't need to be inside. The cargo's all protected and nice and enclosed. The cargo containers can go on the outside, and all of the loose blocks can go on the inside. You got anything good in you? Not really. Okay, it is slightly in the ground. Okay, I think it's clear. Let's find out. Yep. We're good. Excellent. I need lights at the back. I can't see a thing. I was about to try and reverse. I'm like, nope. No, that doesn't work. Now, I'm probably going to end up with a fairly decent collection of like large grid, small cargoes like these. And that's going to be most of my storage. Unless I get very lucky and find one of the rarer large grid, large cargoes. So I'm kind of okay with this. So I'm kind of thinking through how this should set up so that I can have a decent looking storage area with them mostly being the small cargoes. So I was thinking of merging it to that. And then we'll have a little gap down the side here, which needs to be there because these plates are on the outside, so that I can place stuff right against them on the inside. Oh, I can drag that with... Oh, I can drag that. Nice. Locked down. I didn't realize how light a large grid cargo container was compared to like a lot of other stuff. We're playing with these things being fairly restrictive in terms of how strong they are. The improvised experimentation we're using is not exactly powerful. I'm going to grab some more steel plate from this building over here, weld up that floor, and then start thinking about how I'm going to put the conveyor lines and connectors in so that I can hook my rover up more easily. And then it's time to start rebuilding the rover. And if I'm missing any bits, well, then I'll just have to go hunt for them. Otherwise I'm going to spend all my time prepping for when I've got the better rover, or prepping to build the better rover, and never actually using it because I'll use the crummy one for too long. Something I'm normally very guilty of is not welding things up and leaving them unwelded for years and years and years. So I'm going to try my best to minimize how much of that goes on here. Especially as I think it'll be a nice thing to be able to come back to a well-repaired and constructed base when everything else we're dealing with is scrap. Let's offload everything. And then I might start actually building the new rover, because probably not the best idea to build the connector until I know how high the other one's going to be. And I definitely want to build with 5x5 wheels. Oh, I should put some lights on this base. Let's make those a bit longer range. So I'll make those intense over the doors, and then I'll put some other lights so that we've got that bit of variance. I put down some corner lights like this. Oh, yes I can. Good. Right, those I'll have set to throw a fair bit of light. I'll grind this out so I can put them up here too. Oh, it feels so nice to be able to spend power like this. Max radius, I'm going to put a little bit of a yellow tinge because I kind of like that. It's something I've always... Something that grew on me a while back and I've always liked now. Warehouse exterior light. Wait, warehouse light exterior. Copy that to the other ones. Right, now without my lights on. Yeah, much better. Now I'll be able to pick my base as I come towards it. It's not... There's this tiny little glow where it is. And I'll try and add some more lights over time. And I like having the light up there on the wind tower. So I'll try and make sure that I've got the same for my other one. Happy with that. Now, the thing I've been putting off. How on earth do I get this thing to be built? I think my best plan is to prop it up on a piston and then build a platform that it's on, and then I can reshuffle things like the survival kit and the battery, and I can use this crane to lift up the components I need onto that platform once it's in place. So what I want to do is make sure that I'm near enough to the batteries, because they're the main thing that I'm going to have to add. Everything else, like the cargo containers, they're light enough that I can pick them up. The batteries are too heavy, same with gyroscopes. And I'll probably add that other gyroscope to this so that I've got a pair. Yeah, just the gyro and the batteries are the things that are too heavy for me to pick up. Cool. Let's hack you. And now I gotta try and hack you without destroying too many power cells. I know I can do this with just destroying 2. And I think there was a way to do it with destroying none of them, but I don't remember it. Let me try something. I'm going to drop that much off. And I'll weld it back up, and I'm going to try and grind it now. Nope, lost 3. Well, could be worse. I've sworn there was a technique, and I have clearly forgotten it from when I last played this way. That's okay, I've got 3 more. So that should be enough to get all 3 batteries functional, which is great. So I'll have 2 warfare batteries and 1 regular battery. No, I don't have enough to make this battery. I'm short. Short 2, I think. Oh well. Nice to have a goal. So since I'm kind of stuck with medium cargoes for the moment, I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to have them attached to each other so that they can all pipe to one another with the components. So I'm going to have plenty of room to put down the larger conveyor junctions between multiple rows of medium cargo containers. This thing's going to be mostly cargo and crane. It's not going to be like a flatbed or anything like that. Hope to build a secondary vehicle of that type. Now, first up, let's change the coloring. And I know that looks really boring right now, but I'm going to add the blue later. I just want the base of it to maybe actually be the darker grey up here. Now, it has to be... it doesn't have to be, but it really should be odd symmetry, so an odd number of blocks across, because I want to have the crane dead center. Because of the way the crane works, you definitely get some advantages in having it in the middle of the vehicle. Otherwise, you're kind of limited to an arc on the far side of the vehicle to the one which you place the crane. Or at least you risk toppling over, because if you're on the short axis side, there's a little bit less in the way less in the way of making the whole thing flip over. Trying to decide whether I want to go 8 wheels or 10. I think I'll go 8. If I do this, and the wheels place, I place them down this low. Yes, they can. Yeah, I think this is what I'm going to do. This gives me a bit of extra freedom to build stuff around the vehicle. If I keep this platform that I'm going to shuffle things on above the height of the suspensions, because then I can easily expand it out toward the wheels without it getting in the way of the wheels. Because I am going to need to do that. Man, I can't wait to find a tool that's not a basic welder. Oy. Need to find like some sort of service garage or something like that. I reckon there's a chance that I'll find them in there. I haven't spotted any of those yet. Got plenty of weapons. Really don't need those. I got plenty of them. Alright, so I'm going 8 wheels. So what I'm going to do is have a pair of axles at the front, reasonable gap, and then a pair at the rear. With the thought of maybe being able to extend to 3 axles at the rear. But we'll see. I am going to make these look nicer later. I just want to get the wheel spacing first, and then I'm going to do some prettying up around the place. Now, how much space do I want between the front set and the rear set? So between each of the wheels I've left 5 blocks, which should prevent these from colliding with each other. The next thing I'll have, like once I get this all built up, I'm going to have to mess around with the steering angles so that I can actually steer effectively without them scraping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that too much? No, 11's probably pretty good. That'd be here with the wheel. Yeah, I think any bigger than that and I'm kind of getting way ahead of myself. Yeah, that's going to have plenty of space on it, and the crane will be really stable to operate even without having to lock it down to the ground. Because I do prefer not having to lock my cranes down. Something I did just think of. I know I've been scrapping some of those small batteries, but what I should probably do when I'm out and about and I find them is slap them on the bottom of the rover. If there's somewhere I can put them to merge them in and make them part of the bottom bed of the rover. Because they're moderately heavy. At least they're more dense than a light armor block. I'm definitely not building heavy armor. So I should get potentially some like mass distribution advantages by doing that. Now I've given myself quite a lot of ground clearance here, which is not necessarily the right move. The dunes that I'm driving across are pretty easy to drive. So I'll tend to go quite fast, and that means that all the ground clearance I'm giving myself is extra top heaviness and roll happiness that might be problematic. This thing's going to look very empty when it's welded up and I'm actually putting the crane and things on it. Because I don't have enough cargo containers to justify something that's this big. Let's build a bit of a temporary ramp up. I'd like to build a deployable ramp after this. Yeah, I can walk up on top. So, now the job becomes deciding where things need to go and then figuring out how to get them there. I think it makes most sense for the batteries to go up front with the cockpit. If I end up having to add more batteries later, they could theoretically go down the back. But if the batteries go up the front, then I have... And I have most of my weight up front when I'm not loaded. Do I put the batteries in the middle? Could be a bit odd, but could work. Alright, let's loose this off. Move that out of the way. And I need to keep the crane intact for the moment. So where's midline between these wheels? So that's where we want to build the crane. I think there. I think that's on the middle. Yeah, so that's middle, but this doesn't need to be piped to the crane at all. So the crane doesn't need any piping because I can't think of any reason why I would use a connector on the end when I can use a mag plate instead. The only rare situation where I can think that might be useful is if I find some small hydrogen tanks and I want to empty them off that way. But it would probably be better to have a small connector somewhere else on the vehicle that I can then move that tank toward, drain it off, and then ditch the tank. So what I'm thinking is, this would be where the base of the crane is going to be, on top of this conveyor junction. And if I build a conveyor junction either side of it as well, I then have piped up 3 rows of cargo containers, and I can start adding them from the middle out. And then I could put the batteries on the outside of these conveyor junctions. Put 1 warfare on each side, and then we can figure out what we're going to do up front, and then at least there's some mass middle of the rover. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do to begin with. Let's get the stuff to build these out. Actually, no. Let's not build them out. Let's just leave the middle one because they're going to get in the way of moving other stuff around. First step, use the old crane to get the battery up here so I can attach it. Although if I'm going to attach it to another one of these, I should build the other one of these. Yep. This crane is terrible. This design was very much a cheap way of doing something that I probably should have done a better way. Can't wait to set up a proper crane. Okay, I should be able to drop this down. Bring this back, get at least a little bit closer. I'm careful about this. I might be able to get this thing upright. Make sure it doesn't slide off the whole truck. Oh, almost up. Don't fall over. There we go. Nice. Okay, that's ready to go. Let's get a couple of bits for the merge blocks. I'll get that battery in place. Then I got to decide about the survival kit as well, because that's the other component that I always find I'm uncertain how I want to fit in. Okay, so if I grab it with R, then right click, then hold down left, do I have enough power to spin this? I do, yes. Okay, and locked. 1 battery in position. Cool. Just weld that up a bit. Even though I just made it so I had to go back and get more components. Now, survival kit. I think I want to push it further forward and put a container between it and that conveyor port, because otherwise I'm limiting myself and I can't put anything further in front of it. Although, having said that, it's not a bad little conversion to then put some hydrogen engines on and maybe some hydrogen tanks, but I still think I want to push it further forward. So to do that, I need to make sure there's nothing in the way. And then hopefully we should be fine to do this. As long as I don't... Wait a second. Wait a second. I was about to make a big mistake. I don't have a seat anywhere on here. Let's get a passenger seat on the base here somewhere, so I have some way to recharge, because I'm about to take out my survival kit. I could get one of those tiny little batteries and just stick it on the survival kit as an emergency thing, but I think it's probably not worth the time. I'll be alright. Okay, so I need to drag this toward me. Don't you fall off. Don't you go falling off. Then I can put a cargo container in there. And then I'll slap that the survival kit back in. I'm just gonna rest that there, because I did not build enough of a platform, and I did not build any merge blocks to merge this thing. No survival kit! No! Oh, poo. Well, that's gonna be annoying. That's in a really bad spot. And it is too heavy. Ugh. Well, this is going to take longer. Oh, and there goes the tank. Okay, so this is all just jiggling a bit, so anything I leave on top is going to jiggle its way off the side. Great to know. Okay, Crane, hope you can reach where that is. Otherwise I'm going to have to build some weird contraption off it so that I can get there. Ah, looks pretty good. Gotta hope I don't blow it up as I'm trying to get it into place. Alright, all I need to do now is lift this up. Build the platform that I should have built underneath. Push past the wheel, push past. Nothing to see here, that's fine. Okay, that's still a long way out. This is why I decided to give myself this extra block of room, because I knew, well, I predicted I would probably need to build something of a platform like this at least once. Okay, should be safe to disconnect now. Oh, this is going the right way. Yep, that's what I want. That's also about what I wanted. Let's get the merge blocks on quickly before this thing jiggles its way off again. And success. Survival kit attached through cargo container, then conveyor system. That's this side of the rover sorted. Now I want to match that on the other side, and also once I've done that, I think I'm in a position to get rid of this crane. So if you're wondering about when I'm doing these disconnect things, that's using the advanced welding mod by Digi. Oh, jeez. It allows you to hold down control and then grind something, and instead of grinding it down, you grind down all of the links it has to any of the blocks around it. Which is incredibly useful for this style of play, as you might imagine. Now, do I just get rid of this crane now? I know I've got that other battery, but I can always put it on after, since it's not actually going to be providing power yet anyway. Yeah, I think I will. Let's make my life easier. Let's get rid of this thing. Well, let's hopefully make my life easier and not actually making my life incredibly difficult. Because if I knock anything off now that's too heavy, like, say, this battery, I am not going to be able to move it back into place. In fact, just in case, I'm also going to build this all the way through here before I do anything. Because that engine needs to come off and get moved as well. Right. Might get this engine... Yeah, I might try and put this engine in place first. So, with improvised experimentation, the mod that's allowing me to grab stuff, I can actually make little lever arms on things and tip them over like that. Because I'm applying the force much further in a much more useful way. Which is really quite handy. I think I may, however, have just jammed this underneath that programmable block, which is inconvenient. I'm trying to line this engine up to that port, because then I can put another engine on the other port. We'll go merge block on there, merge block on here. As the thing slowly runs away from me. Just edging ever so cautiously away from where I want it to be. Come on, you want to connect. You know you want to. I don't want to fall off, but I am going to continue to do so. Come on. Hey, locked. Cool. That's sorted. Now, gyroscope. Oh, I might leave you on the battery for now. I can't. Ah, no. I can't leave the gyroscope on the battery because I need to use that grind mode, the detach mode, to get that battery off. But... Ooh, to move that battery, but I may have just realized something. If I do that on the battery, these two may stay linked, which is going to make moving the gyroscope heaps easier. So, let's see what happens.
Energy low.
Hey, it worked. Perfect. I want to move that. I think I want to get this thing out of the way because it's going to be causing all manner of issues. I think I want to get some of those cargo containers up front here first. because that's going to be the more difficult position to add them in later. I think it'll be easy to add the rearward ones after this. Oh, that cargo container had already decided to walk off. Come back. No, don't fall off. I want to put the 3 across here. So you're going to go in there, and then your other little friend back here is going to go next to you. And then that's 3 cargo containers lined up across there. And that's all my cargo containers, I think, at the moment. And then I got plenty of room back there to add another 12 or whatever it is that I find. Oh! I did something unintentionally clever. Yay! If I happen to get very lucky and find a large small grid cargo container, by building this up a block higher, it's a lot easier for me to align that with the existing conveyor system. Because they're 5x5x5 instead of 3x3x3.
Energy critical.
So all I need to do is chop out a bit of the floor, and then I can build my connection between the wheels still as a buffer between that and the ground. Well, that worked out really nicely. How unexpected. Okay, you stop running away. Need to get the battery past. Actually, I might do the battery next. Because I can lift that cargo container over the top, so it doesn't need to be built yet. No, I don't want the merge block on there. I want to try and roll this so that it's the same orientation as this one. The chances of that are slim, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm just going to give myself a little bit of a lever arm to see if I can knock this thing over without knocking it over the wrong way. Come on. No! You mean, basically I didn't want to do that. I can upright it. Come on. No, stop tipping the way you want to tip and tip the way I want you to tip. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Like that. See, that wasn't so hard. I guarantee that I will make some mistakes with placing these things. And there will be blocks that are not remotely symmetrical, even if I intended them to be so. Just because sometimes it's like, I'm just going to connect this now rather than deal with everything being wrong. Yay! Got it.
No energy.
Alright, no energy. It's weird. I'm more stable standing on this wheel than I am on this platform next to the remnants of the crane. Cool. That's reconnected. Survival kit's reconnected. Engine's reconnected. Just got to get that cargo container. Check my other bits to see if there are any I forgot. And then conveyor this to the back so that I can actually drop stuff in a connector at the back. And then slowly replace the conveyors with medium cargos as I find them about the world. Yeah, this feels like it's got capacity for some good growth. Let's just check the components on the ground, see if there was anything else I was planning on adding. Antenna, thrusters, no. I don't need any of these programmable blocks. I was thinking about adding this event controller, which shouldn't be too hard to do. Could add that engine, but I'm not too fussed about doing that until I've got the crane in. And there was another gyroscope I could add, but again, probably want to wait for the crane for that because it is going to be a bit fiddly. Right, last thing I need to make this at least a rover is a cockpit. I'm a bit limited in what I can build. What is the cab cockpit price? Oh, it's actually fairly cheap. I think I'll go with it. I'll just plonk it there for now. It's probably going to need to be moved. Which may get annoying because, well, having to move it means that I have to redo any of the key bindings, but it should be okay at least for the crane bit of things. Because the crane is the main problem. If the crane is fine, I don't really care about having to redo the other bits. Or I don't care anywhere near as much about having to redo them, I should say. Now, can I reach this cockpit from the ground, or am I going to need a ramp? Alright, so I want to begin with 3x3 rotor, not because it's required, but because I like the style of having a big rotor than a big hinge for my cranes that I set up. One of the reasons I really like a 3x3 hinge here is that when we pop this down, we can then start by adding pistons up here. And if I'm careful about how it all nests into each other, I can actually make everything fold underneath, and this has given me that height so that it can fold. Now, am I going to go style points and do double pistons? Kind of want to. Block, block, and then we need to merge these. Do single grid.
No energy.
It's a boring looking rover right now, but I hope I will have the ability to add style to it over time. Now, how long do I want this to be and how compact do I need it to be? Oh, I wonder. This could look quite neat, but could be problematic. I'm going to take those out. I'm going to carve that block out in the middle. No, it was the wrong one! Arrgh. Alright, back to merge blocks. What I'm about to do will make sense. Eventually. Probably. Maybe. Okay, merge those. Lock them back in. Now, I'm going to put a 2x1 tip, a 2x1 base in between those two. Then a tip there. And then when I build up these pistons, I'm going to have a 2x1 base here and a tip on here. Which I can actually place right now. I've got a mod allowing that. So they're not actually going to nest perfectly on each other, but I think it'll look kind of cool having these parts that look like they mostly nest. I wanted to keep a bit more clearance because dedicated server and higher risk putting things right next to each other, but I thought this could look interesting. I think this'll add some nice style. Can't have this thing being too utilitarian. It'll make me sad. Always makes me happy when, even in a mode like this, I make myself take the time and actually get things looking a little bit interesting. So 3 pistons. This thing's already 1, 2, 3, 4.5 meters long, and it can go out to 10.5 meters for this segment. Plus we'll have the other segment that loops back underneath. I think I'm going to go with a 4th set of pistons to give myself enough room for the little manipulator arm at the end, the hand and wrist set up at the end of the crane. Because if I don't give myself enough room for those, it's not going to tuck in neatly, and that'll suck. Okay, now, if we imagine this is the shoulder of the arm, the next bit's going to be the elbow. And it probably doesn't need to be anything super complicated. Just want to make sure that I orient these hinges in the way that makes sense to me. I think down would be bending it this way. Yeah, so that's where I want those 2 strokes to be. Let's just get a temporary platform out here. Oh, what am I doing? Have I got any small grid blocks that are larger than 1x1 that could be useful for building platforms? Do I have interior plate on me? I only have 1. So preferably something that can also be built with steel plate. Guess cockpits? So that makes it a lot easier to place it down and remove it after. So if I place a bunch of cab cockpits down here, then I can stand on them. And it's super easy to remove afterwards. Yeah! Now we're thinking with portals. Cool. The cab cockpit's actually pretty easy to place and use like this. Oops. Because it does have attachment points on all sides, and it's just a little... it's mostly a simple cube. Okay. So, mid of the elbow. I think I'm going to give myself some extra clearance when this folds in on itself. Just going to put a blast door in there for style. That goes on there, and then we add our hinge part back on. Like so. And attach. So I don't forget to do that later. So then this one would go down to here. Then the next hinge gets placed on here. Should also have down going the same direction just for my sanity later. Doesn't strictly matter which way these hinges are, as long as the pair are the same because that will hopefully prevent me running into the issue where I try and get them to move and they want to move in opposite directions and I have to figure out which one I need to set to the other way so that it works. So this is why there's a bit of a gap in this elbow, because as this comes back, I've created that space for everything to fit in here. I could make the elbow even another block longer because of the rotor creating that clearance, but I think this will be adequate. So now we need to go back to doing more pistons. Looking at my crane, I did do things quite inefficiently. There are these light armor blocks in between each piston, and I could have still merged them as I've done and had those replaced by pistons. So the piston would be moved a whole block back, connected directly to the other one. That would have allowed me to get 2 more pistons in that top section, which would have been nice, but I think I'm still going to have adequate reach with this, even without that. And I kind of like the style, so I'm happy enough to accept that inefficiency. Happy enough, not happy though. A little unhappy about it. But I think it'll be fine. And then for this section, I'm just going to stick with 2 pistons, because looking at how much space I've got here, I'm going to need that other space to have a rotor and a pair of hinges at least for the wrist movement. So this bit gets a bit different. I'm going to go with light armor blocks like that, because then we're going to go to single hinges. So this is all for the grabbing apparatus now. So this top part is actually quite strong, and most of these hinges can take quite a lot of force, and obviously the pistons can apply them too. The next bit's a bit weak, but there's not much I can do about that. So we go with an advanced rotor. Not any particular reason why, I just like the look of them. And then I want to be able to... Oh, this is the bit that I always am uncertain about what I'm doing. I feel like I need more manipulation than I end up putting on. Kind of thinking we'll go advanced rotor and then 2 hinges in line and 1 offset. Or maybe alternate them and do 3 hinges. This. And then 1 more like this. Which may be over the top, but I find the more degrees of control I have at the end here, the better. Because I can tend to end up in a situation where I'm not sure what to move next. And if I have this much manipulation, it usually works out better. Go the large mag plate? No, I need to go the small because I may need to get into small spaces. Large one looks nice, but practicality, we're going to have to go with this. Cool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 components for manipulation at the end. I know it is theoretically possible to get to pretty much every position with less than this. However, it can require you moving something through positions that are quite awkward to reach with the control scheme I use. So what I find is more practical is to give myself more control points. So this rotor here and this rotor at the end here, if everything else is straight, they're doing the same thing. But if I don't have this straight and I still need to do a rotation at the end here on this last little bit, it's really, really handy having that rotor. So it's just one of those things that it's a concession to my control scheme and what I need to have to be able to do things the way that I can get my head around. So yeah, for those wondering why I put so many extra control points on, that's why. It is definitely more than's required, but it is just enough to make things work the way I want to. Cool. My rover is upgraded. I need a connector for it now, so I can be hooked up and I can be ready to go on some journeys. Oh, no, I've forgotten one important thing. I need a scrap beacon. Okay, spotlights placed. Let's get some ground visibility lighting. Alright, that'll do. Don't need really much more than those two. I'll put a couple up front as well anyway. Yeah, that's much better. Now I can see things. So. Steering angles. I'm going to turn steering off on you. The rearmost wheels will get a little bit of steer, but not much. And these ones will get 10, I reckon. It's gonna handle like a bus, but it actually probably could handle more steering angle, actually. I'm gonna give it more. What's the worst that could happen? Let's go 30 on the front. The downside of higher steering angles are that if they were to happen at high speed, you're more likely to flip. However, Space Engineers is kind of clever, and it doesn't actually apply the higher steering angles when you're at higher speeds. So the risks of them are pretty low. Now, let's see. Is a connector actually going to work here? Yeah, I'm perfectly misaligned there. That could not be worse. Poop. I go hinge there. Take off the hinge part. Add a small hinge part. I do want to weld this up because I do want to be able to offload all my parts straight into the base. There you go, nice and simple. Another 3x3 hinge on here. And then the connector goes on this. This is my preferred sort of hookup system when I need a slight adjustment in height, because it gives you a moderate range without needing any extra funky stuff. And if you need a little bit more, you just put a little bit of length between the two hinges, and that will give you extra height in quite a clean way as well. Let's go up until the bottom edge of that hinge is close to where the other one is. I probably should have given myself a little bit of extra length here. So we're at 60 degrees. Let's bring this down to minus 60. And that's pretty much spot on. Look at that. Locked. Well, with the crane laid out, hopefully next time I can sit down with Park and set it all up so that I can control the crane from the cockpit of the truck without having to use build vision and all that, because that would be a lot nicer. I'm going to need to figure out some spots to put cameras on the rig so that I can more usefully see what's going on, because third-person cameras can get a bit awkward, but we'll see how that goes. I'm hopeful that this truck base is going to be robust enough for what I'm trying to do. It should be. It looks like it's got a decent amount of ground clearance, and it should have enough power with those 8 wheels to carry a pretty decent load. And the crane should be strong enough that I should be able to lift things like wind turbines or whatever it is I come across with relative ease. My hope is that I can pick up entire small grid vehicles and just bring them back here to process later. And just accumulate things, and rather than having to pick out specific blocks, if I know there's a block I want that's in there, I can just bring back the whole thing and get the block back here. Next time, maybe I'll run into that person that I didn't quite find. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll run into someone else. Hopefully. I would like to see someone. So there's all that and plenty more to come. And I will see you then.